Anda sedang mendengarkan UT Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Halo, saya Angga Yunanda, mahasiswa Ilmu Komunikasi Universitas Terbuka. Saya baru saja menyelesaikan studi saya di Ilmu Komunikasi. Terima kasih banyak UT telah memberikan akses edukasi yang sangat menyeluruh kepada pemuda-pemudi Indonesia.
Saya benar-benar yakin bahwa masa depan Indonesia itu bertumpu pada Universitas Terbuka ini. Tidak mungkin ada revolusi pendidikan tanpa teknologi, dan sekarang universitas yang sudah full online, full teknologi ya Universitas Terbuka. Ya semoga Universitas Terbuka ini semakin berkembang, amin, semakin baik ke depannya, karena benar-benar untuk bisa meningkatkan skill dari seluruh lulusan SMA di Indonesia yang banyak sekali, itu ya paling mudah dan paling scalable itu ya melalui online. Sesuatu yang tidak mungkin bisa terjadi tanpa adanya teknologi. Dan Universitas Terbuka itu adalah a key player in this, di higher education.
Tapi tentu kualitasnya nggak mungkin bisa direview. Ayo gabung sama aku yuk. Dah.
Linda, aku harus pergi. Hubungan kita akan jarak jauh.
Apa? Kom di mana?
Jangan.
Hah? Kom di mana? Tidak boleh pergi jauh dari Sakoto.
Hubungan jarak jauh emang berat. Mending kuliah jarak jauh di Universitas Terbuka.
Mel, aku lagi bingung nih mau kuliah di mana. Orang tua aku minta aku cepet kuliah di perguruan tinggi negeri. Tapi aku mau kegiatan dan hobi aku tetap berjalan. Kamu tahu gak universitas yang cocok buat aku itu apa?
Universitas Terbuka, Fir, jawabannya. Pelopor perguruan tinggi negeri dengan sistem pembelajaran jarak jauh. Jadi nggak perlu datang ke kampus.
Wah, oke banget tuh. Gimana cara daftarnya?
Gini nih cara daftarnya.
Buka browser di handphone atau laptop kamu dan ketik admisi-sia.ut.ac.id. Kemudian pilih admisi calon mahasiswa dan mahasiswa. admisi-sia.ut.ac.id. Lalu klik tombol pengguna baru daftar di sini. Isi data-data kamu dengan lengkap dan pastikan pada bagian email isi dengan email yang aktif ya. Kemudian klik tombol buat akun mahasiswa baru, lalu cek email aktif kamu untuk memverifikasi data akun mahasiswa baru kamu dengan mengklik tombol verifikasi email sekarang. Kemudian login dengan memasukkan email dan password yang sudah kamu daftarkan.
Education Station for All. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat berjumpa kembali dalam program Coffee Break Universitas Terbuka. Senang sekali saya Fatimah Eva kembali menjumpai Anda dalam program ini. Dan seperti biasa program ini disiarkan live di 3 kanal ya. Dan pastinya spesial sekali karena pada kesempatan kali ini kita akan ngobrol-ngobrol tidak dengan narasumber yang satu negara, tapi telah hadir 2 narasumber dari 2 negara yang berbeda. And we are going to talk about regional development and sustainable issues, of course, ya. Bersama Prof. Jin Kwang from Gachon University and Prof. Nafsiah Muhammad from Mara Technology University, Malaysia. Well, thank you so much, professors, for coming. So, how are you today?
Thank you very much for you inviting me in this precious session. Thank you very much.
Okay,
thank you very much. Okay, it's really a great honor to be here.
Okay, well, is this your very first time for coming to Universitas Terbuka in Indonesia?
In my case, many times.
Wow. So you have already know every spot in here.
Sort of, yeah, sort of.
Well, what do you think about Universitas Terbuka or Indonesia, the weather, maybe the people?
I think, well, Malaysia and Indonesia, there's not much difference.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And today I'm very happy in the sense that, you know, they had a celebration this morning of 500,000 yeah students. Okay, I feel very, very happy and proud of UT. Because I've been part of UT, you know, we do research together, and I've been like coming here to give lectures and so on. So, you know, when I heard the news, you feel like you're part of it.
Okay, so this is you can feel that UT Indonesia is also your home.
Definitely.
Well, so what about you, Prof. So?
Yeah, it's the first time for me to visit Terbuka University, but it's my glory. When I visited Terbuka University, achieved more than 500,000 enrolled students. It's my great glory.
Okay, so what do you think about our office of Universitas Terbuka?
Very cozy and comfortable for me.
Same as yours in Korea?
yeah, I feel at home.
Well, where will you be in Indonesia for how long?
We'll be attending East West, you know, Wednesday and Thursday, and then visiting places after that, and also on Friday both of us will be giving lectures to another university. So we're going back on. Prof will be going back on Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
I'll be going back on Saturday.
Oh, okay, one day longer.
Yes.
Well, okay. Now we are going to talk about regional development, actually, and you are here because of there's some occasion, namely ISBES. ISBES is actually International Seminar on Business, Economics, Social Science, and Technology. It is an annual conference organized by Faculty of Economics and Business of Universitas Terbuka Indonesia. And this year, the 6th ISBES will be held on Wednesday. Well, actually, it's tomorrow, yeah. Yeah, it's tomorrow, September 20, 2023 in UTCC. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, Prof. So about the development or regional development. What is actually the recent issues about development?
Yeah, okay. Most people concerned about how to be happy.
Okay.
Yeah. To be happy, we need money, we need safe housing, and we need clothing, you know. And then to be happy, we need to travel other countries, other places. So in order to be happy, we need more infrastructures such as convenient road, and then cozy parks, and then very nice housing included. So in the past, development can be discussed about the method how to raise income and how to build more sufficient, more convenient infrastructures such as roads, parks, housing, etc. But we cannot live alone. Okay, so a kind of net effects will be very, very important for us to live better and well off with others. Okay, like this in the past, the physical capital, traditional capital, I mean, the money, land, housing, etc. Could cause conflicts among people and then relative deprivation among people. Wow, he has so much money, but I have no, for example. Yeah, some kinds of tensions and some kinds of conflicts. But as I told you, we cannot live alone, so we need help from others, and I need to help others.
Yes.
Okay, like this socialization process we are facing. In the case, why do you like money? Why do you like money? Do you want much more money? Always, every people. Yeah. Then, why?
Because that can be part that makes us happier.
How happy?
Easy to get anything with the
much money. You can choose every varieties of spectrum in daily lives.
Yes, of course.
So with much money, you can buy very luxurious cosmetics, and then you can buy big house. You can buy very, very convenient, high quality automobiles, vehicles, for example. So, like this, money can make us happier with a large spectrum of choice. So we can say that, happiness can be defined as the spectrum of people's choice. Yeah. So we used to try to large the spectrum of choice. For that, we must earn much more money. Yeah. But money cannot be shared with others. Okay? Do you agree?
Not really, actually. because sometimes when I have a lot, so I think that I have to spend more and give more, share.
But money used to flatter you.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Maybe for me, every time. Like this. Money used to cause conflicts.
Of course, I agree with that.
Between individual and then I belong to some community.
Yeah.
Okay. So members of community and individuals, very, very different position. And then money used to enlarge the gap between the member of the certain communities and the individuals. So money cannot be used without others. Okay? If there are no clothing store, what can you do? With much money, you cannot buy luxurious clothing for you. Okay? So money can be used with others. In that case, for example, trust with others. Trust others can play the role the same of the money. Okay? Like this, because we cannot live alone, we need to manage our relationship with others. For example, trust, participation, networks, and altruism. Sometimes we need to help others in need. Okay? Then after that, well, if we are in need, others can help us. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. And then capacity of the institute. If we don't keep our rules, social norms, who can trust me? And our neighbors cannot be endangered. Okay? Yeah. So we need social capital like this, beyond physical capital, I mean. And we need physical capital also, and plus social capital. Trust with others, participation in the common projects at the community level, and then we should establish networks with others to work together, and we need to help others, and then we need to keep our rules because we agreed with those rules and social norms. Otherwise, we cannot keep our society in good shape. Okay? Like this, social capital added. And then, the next question can be then, how to accumulate social capital in our society? Okay? In that case, the answer is good governance. Good governance. And you've been told so many times about the governance, and then it may be different from the traditional government style. I mean here, by the word government style is that if government decide, people should follow that. It's not governance. So nowadays, when we are talking about good governance, it must focus on bottom-up approach.
Of course.
Yeah. So people's needs first, and then the government should supply for them through producing public goods and services. Okay? It's the best practice to sustain our society for the next generations. Otherwise, the public sector used to abuse the natural resources and the public finance and supply more than people need. Okay? Abuse materials and public finance. In that case, sustainability cannot be practiced. So it's fine. We need to consider people's demands and the people's needs by building good governance system to produce public goods and services before supplying those goods and services to people. It's a good governance. So in good governance system, those interactions between the public sector and the private sector.
Yeah.
Otherwise, our society cannot be sustained. And then next, what's the hot issue in current times? Maybe climate change. Do you agree with me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And then, why climate change? because we overuse the materials from nature. Okay, so human civilization is facing new crisis, non-sustainability. Okay, so sustainability of our human civilization will be the very, very important for the next generations. In this situation, we cannot be sure next generations. So what can be done with this situation?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, we should change paradigm in the field of regional development or community development. Okay?
I see.
Yeah. So to practice this paradigm shift in practical side as well as in academia, I mean, there may be some domains, I mean that categories of the terminology of sustainability. Maybe some scholars classified into 3 or into 4 or into 5. Among them, I think the best alternative may be the 5 categories. For example, to define sustainability, we need to pay our attention on first the material domain. As I told you before, we input natural resources into manufacturing activities to produce the final products consumed by household. And household used to buy some final products to consume at home. And after that, what happened?
That become mass product that been produced all over the country, I think.
Yeah. And after using those products, after
that becomes a waste.
What happened? Waste.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Dispose waste into the natural environment. Okay? And some parts, only some parts can be recycled into other materials for the manufacturing activities again, and like this circulation, and then repeated this circulation. What result? We use up natural resources all.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And it means that accumulated waste in the natural society. Okay? Then how can we sustain our world, our human civilization, I mean, cannot. Okay? So, in that case, we should change what? The material domain.
Of course.
Yeah. We need to increase recycling material circulation. Okay? It's the first domain. And then the second domain, we should change the economic domain.
I see.
Okay? In the past, I mean that in 1992, United Nations declared ESSD concept, the concept of ESSD. In other words, environmentally sound and sustainable development. Okay? So, most scholars and then leaders, I mean the political leaders in the world, agreed with that opinion that, oh, okay, economy is very, very important. And then environment is also important in our world.
I agree with you.
And then after that, what happened? Environmental crisis we became facing. And then environment quality decreased. Okay, in this case, what should we do? We should change our economic domain. Okay? It means that it will be of no use for us to make money. Okay? Sometimes we put the priority on our environmental quality, even though we should reduce economic activities, for example. It's the second domain. And the third domain may be the domain of life, our lives. We should change our lives to sustain our human civilization. For example, without practice, how can we sustain our human civilization? Cannot. Okay? So, from home, we should change our lifestyles. Okay? For example, disposing waste separately into recycled materials and non-recycled materials separately disposed, should be disposed, for example. And then reduce the abuse of final products. Okay? Yeah, like this. And the fourth, social domain.
Of course.
Yeah. Social domain here means that we are all together should agree with the opinion about that. Then, without trust, how can we set up the common goals? Is why we think about social capital again. Social capital is very, very important to practice sustainability. Okay? And then the last, maybe spiritual domain.
I see.
We should change our spirits. Okay?
A way of thinking, maybe.
Yeah, way of thinking. Okay, right. Yeah. Otherwise, we cannot practice any desire of knowledge or etc. Okay? So, it's very, very important. And then, let me say about the case of Semaurundung in Korea. As you know, Professor Nafishia actually is the expert, excellent expert of this field. You know, in 1960s, Korea is much poorer than Indonesia. You know, still maybe. Oh, Indonesia is a huge country and has so high potential. And actually, in terms of population size, top 4 in the world. Okay, top 4, and then natural resources abundant country. But Korea had no natural resources at that time, in 1960s and in 1970s, of course, that's the same. And then we were very poor. In 1967 or 8, I remember that public expenditure among them, about 80% of public expenditure depended on foreign aid. Can you believe it? You cannot. Yeah.
I even can't imagine that.
Oh, yeah. And then even the government was so poor, the public sector couldn't support village development, community development, like etc. And then civil society was beyond the public sector. The public sector couldn't control the civil society and couldn't support the civil society development and any kind of community development like this. So, new government inaugurated in 1960s began to spread some spiritual movement, but failed. Why? Couldn't visualize the movement into physical capital. So it's why Korean government had to launch another campaign named 새마을 운동. Actually, 새마을 운동 is in the same line with community development. Okay, it's one of the community development. But so many countries in the world after World War II began to practice, implement, launch a kind of community development, but most failed, except one.
Was that?
새마을 운동.
새마을 운동.
Yeah. United Nations collected some data.
I see.
I remember that in 2000, so many cases from Bangladesh, from Indonesia, from Philippines, from Tanzania, from etc. In Japan, and many cases they collected and analyzed, which is the best practice.
Well,
then finally they decided, oh, 새마을 운동 is the best practice.
Wow.
Okay, so 새마을 운동 cannot be owned by the Republic of Korea. It should be shared with other countries.
Okay, Prof. So we are going to have a break. Yeah, okay. So we are going to have a discussion after the break, and Eva juga masih mengundang Anda untuk yang punya pertanyaan tentang regional development and sustainability issues. Boleh banget Anda bisa kirim WhatsApp ke kami di 08 12 10 39 2726, atau Anda bisa tulis pertanyaan Anda di kolom komentar YouTube. Dan kita juga belum dengarkan sudut pandang economic inequality effect dari sustainability development, nanti dari Prof Nafisa mungkin ya. Oke, siap. So, stay tune terus di UT Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Anda sedang mendengarkan UT Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Universitas Terbuka, tradition and innovation go hand in hand. As the first distance education institution in Indonesia, Universitas Terbuka was established to provide access to higher education for all Indonesians living across the country. Financial and geographical issues, as well as infrastructure challenges, were among the background to establish a massive open education system. Development of higher quality and more efficient infrastructure has significantly driven Universitas Terbuka to move forward. The development of user-friendly technology and the spread of mobile technology in rural areas have made a dramatic impact on the features of services and the characteristics of students.
Education Station for all the listeners, terima kasih Anda masih bersama kami dalam program Cafe Break Universitas Terbuka, dan pastinya kita masih berbincang tentang regional development and sustainability issues with Professor Jin Kwang from Gachon University and also Professor Nafsiyah Muhammad from Mara Technology University, Malaysia. Well, from the first session, we have talked a lot about what's development, sustainable development, and even you start with how happy we are, what makes us happy, and then it is connected to what kind of development that we have to use and to get a sustainability life. Not only for today, of course. And I want to ask Professor Nafsiyah about how can economic growth be maintained so as not to damage the environment and limited natural resource, as you are from the economic field. So what is your point of view?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, what I can say here is I'm talking based on my research experience, right? So, Professor So, he's the expert, in this particular area. So, what I did was I take his knowledge, and then put it into research, So he did mention just now about Sama Undong, and as you can see, why South Korea, from being a very poor country in the 60s, 70s, and now he's like top richest country in the world. Yes, so everyone talks about Korea. Okay, so that triggered me, to do this research. So why? How come? All these questions play in my head. So I did my own preliminary study, and then I met Prof. So in November 2018. He presented a paper, and from there we started. So I sort of really into it. So we started doing this research to find out what are the factors, that make this Tema Undong, as you can see, is one of the best approach for sustainability. However, because I'm from the accounting faculty, from the Accounting Research Institute, so my focus is more on the survival. The survival, and I look at the social enterprises. Right? So we did a joint research between Malaysia, Korea and Indonesia. So I think you know about BUMDes, Badan Usaha Desa. So we focus on that. So what we can do is, I had a PhD student, who are doing research on BUMDes. So based on his study and so on, so we found out that there are some BUMDes who are performing well, some are not. So these are social enterprises. So we try to look at the Semi Undong concept. So Semi Undong concept, as I said, they focus on 4 here. So we talk about the central government's guidance. That is very, very important. The commitment from the central government. If you don't have the commitment from the central government, then it's very difficult for you to to implement.
Of course.
Because we talk about local government, for instance, local government will get directive from the central government and any other government departments, right? So that is important. And then the other one is wide range of people's participation. That really make us, like how could they make so many people like in a community to participate voluntarily. Okay, so let me just give you an example. As Professor So was saying just now, that during those era 60, 70, they were poor, so the government doesn't have money. So what they did was, the government could provide, like if they want to build a bridge, for instance,
of course,
the government couldn't afford to give money, right? But they could get, through networking and so on, what do you need to build a bridge? The what do you call it? All the iron bars and all the materials required, from maybe some good Samaritan, right, to give and so on. But it's the central government's sort of. It's not directive, but it's just like because it comes from the central government, so people tend to follow, and then the community. The thing is, they work together to build the bridge. You see, no money. They themselves do not have money, but they have the raw material. So they do that. So it started from there. So it's the participation. So everyone in the community, big or small, they participate. And then nurturing community leadership. This is very, very important. Leadership in any community, there must be a good leader.
Of course. And very expensive today.
Yes. How do you identify a good leader? Yes. Right? But the thing is, in South Korea, the community, they themselves were able to identify who these good leaders are or were, and that is one of the role of the Sema Undong Center, where they help, to give training to potential leaders, how to lead, all the good values, that need to be instilled in them and so on. Right? So with these qualities that they have, so they were able to lead the community. Right? And what about the people? So here, the people, they imbued the people with spirits of diligence, self-help, and cooperation. So the leaders, they go for training. These are the things that were instilled in them. So they go back, and then these were the things they instill within the community. So we work together. Don't depend on others, and then, if anything happens, never mind. We work together. We find ways and means, they persevere. Yeah. So these are the things that we found out from our research, from our interviews, and so on. And based on this, we came out with 8 elements, non-financial performance elements, and from this 8, we came out with a model, which we called Sonata model. So you must be wearing winter sonata.
Yes, of course. I remember that.
Yeah.
Sonata
my family name is So.
So the sonata, we I do not know. It just came out because I think I'm one of the fan of winter sonata. So is Professor So, S-O, right? So N, Nafsia. A, Aida, these are our team members. Ta, T-A is from Utami, Professor Utami, and R is Rizal. So our sonata with R at the back, so we came up with that. So we come up with a model, and then we test it, on 6 BUMDes in Indonesia. Right? And what we found out that based on we have a set of questions that we gave out, and then we analyze and we come up with a sort of a web that we can analyze that, and from that we were able to predict whether this BUMDes will be able to sustain in the near future,
I see,
or in the long run. or not at all, you know. So from these 6, what we did was we came out and then we predict, yeah. So we predict this will be, you know, their financial, because we do not know their financial performance. We don't have their financial statements. We are just based on the non-financial criteria that we have. And after we have completed that, then we managed to get their financial statement. And voila, you know, we found out that what we predicted, we can say that
with the
it's the same. Meaning to say, we don't have to look at the financial statement. We just look at our findings, and we can say that, you know, if we predict that, okay, this boom dash will not sustain, it will, you know, sooner or later we go bankrupt. And when we look at, you know, the financial statement, we can see, you know, that they're not making profits, you know, they're running at a loss, and so on, right? So it is something that we did not expect also, right? So I think this is survival, survival. How we can use this model to assist these BUMDES so that they can predict. So from there, they can say where are the weaknesses. I think the one that did not sustain is basically the leadership. Yeah, either the leadership is very low or none. So these are the things. So from that model, they are able to improve. What are the weaknesses? So the government or whoever the authorities, you know, they are able to look at it and make improvements on that. So that is what we have been doing. So we intend to extend, because it's only 6. Yeah. So we hope that you're able to get more research grant, and then to extend, because we have hundreds of BUMDES throughout Indonesia. Prof So is willing to help, an expert in Sema Undong, and then I can my team will be able to use the model and expand, because I think I also learned yesterday from Prof So that what we did was is basically we look at the survival in terms of the economy, right? But yesterday we were discussing, we talk about digital space. Digital space. Yeah. So this is maybe another element that we're going to look into in our future research, and see how that digital space could assist, because now we're talking about the digital world, digitalized. Yes. So how we can use that, you know, to help all these BUMDES to improve. Maybe previously it would take a longer time for them to improve, to overcome their financial problems, and so maybe with this digitalization, you know, it might be the period will be shorter. So basically, that is my research. So we did this innovation, and we entered 3 different international innovation competition, and we won all 3 goals.
Wow, that's very nice.
Yeah. So I mean, like, people see that what we have done, something that can be implemented, that is, it can become a reality. So I do hope, right, in future, with Professor So in the team, right, we can move forward and make this big, and add more elements, and that's it.
So, Prof, what do you think, and how do you feel actually Sami Undong value to be absorbed in some kind of program in Indonesia? BUMDES, right?
Yes.
What do you think?
Okay. Yep. I've been told that there is the Ministry of Village in Indonesia. Oh, it's very, very important point, because to cope with the digital space, bottom-up approach will be very, very important, like Sema Undong. At the initial stage of Sema Undong, the Korean government just intended to evoke, as Professor Nafusha told already, those spirits, triangle spirits, diligence, self-help, and cooperation spirits. So just the government to stimulate the people by providing some construction materials such as cement and iron, but very, very scanty of that. And then didn't interrupt the decision-making process. Everything depended on village people's choice. In that case, village people had to meet together to discuss about what to do at the village level. And because they decided the priority order of project they wanted, the remaining, what should be done? Village people mobilized themselves to the remaining parts of the materials and money. Like this, for 10 years, the miracle happened. Korean government just provided 29.9% of the materials and fund needed to implement Semaurundong, but civil society, village people, had to mobilize the remain.
Okay.
Nearly over than 70% by themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this process endowed village people ownership and initiatives. So I can say that the Ministry of Village may be very, very helpful for village people to do something by themselves, for themselves, of themselves. It's the mechanism of Semaurundong, by the people, for the people, of the people.
Wow.
Yeah. Government didn't interrupt the process. I mean that what to do and how to do. Never. Just to support the process by dispatching one public officials to one village. And then this kind of process changed the public sector. In other words, reformed the public sector. In the past, public officials wouldn't visit the village. But after launching Semaurundong, public officials had to visit the village. He's one in charge of him or etc. village first, and commute to his office to report what happened in this village and in that village to the district governor, for example. And then after that, then what can be done? What can be done by the public sector to support them? Okay, and sending truck to them, or make, for example, facilitate the public administration to reduce the regulation on them. Like this, to reform the public sector. And the private sector also, corporations, like this.
Okay.
So the result was the nearly miracle. Why? 4 years, within 4 years after launching Semaurundong, the rural household income, I mean the average income, began to exceed that of household income in urban area. Oh, it's a miracle. It's the first time in the world, yeah, after industrialization process. So, from 1974, Korean government began to spread the gospel story of rural Semaurundong to urban area and even to those manufacturing activities like this: factory Semaurundong, office Semaurundong, school Semaurundong, urban Semaurundong. Like this, the Semaurundong approach based on diligent spirits, self-help spirit, cooperation spirit, began to be spread all over the country. And then this kind of campaign innovated Korea. from the poorest country in the world to the, what did you say? Top 10?
No. Top richest country in the world.
Top rich. Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, Prof, so I also want to know, and what about the technology that they use in Samarundong, or we can absorb some kind of ideas in Samarundong using technology to the sustainability development?
Yeah, as I told you, without involving village people from the bottom, we cannot practice sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
So we should return ownership and initiatives to the village people themselves. Okay, so for example, the Ministry of Villages should help them to do something by themselves, for themselves, of themselves. Okay? And then, for example, in Korea, at the beginning of Semaurundong, no money at the time, so no material. So village people met together to clean their villages first all together. Individuals couldn't do this, but all together could be done. Like this. The cleaning village first, and wow, clean village we have. Wow, that's okay.
So using technology or not, it doesn't matter.
This kind of campaign succeeded in rebuilding community. You know, industrialization process destroyed the sense of community into the individualism. But Semaurundong succeeded in rebuilding community. With this, the sense of community, we can do better all together. And then the clean village, and after that save the materials, save the money, and then raise the common fund to make our village better off all together. Like this is the starting point of sustainability in our society.
So we are going to have the same vision. I mean, every single aspect, we have to see the same goals, and we do our part to be there, to get the point that we want to be.
But you know that it's true. Semaurundong succeeded in reinventing absolutely the Korean society, but it could be done 50 years ago. Okay? The past. And it could be done in Korea. So, just the experiences of Korea will be of no use for Indonesia to adopt the same methodology, the same version. So, we need to localize Korean experiences into Indonesian version. Okay? And then we need to convert the past experiences into the modern cases. It's why I used to stress the paradigm shift in the field of community development and in the field of regional development, and then make Indonesian version by examining Korean experiences, for example, into Indonesian version.
Wow, that's a very good insight. It makes an eye-opening something inside my head, actually. Well, thank you so much. And this is actually the end of our conversation. Thank you so much for coming. And the last, I want you to read the greetings. Hello, UT listeners. I am, mention your name. You are listening UT Radio, Open Education Station for all. Both of you will read this. Okay. Start from you, Prof. So.
Thank you. Greeting. Hello, UT
Ute.
Uti. Listeners, I am So Jin Kwang. So is my family name, like Socrates. And you are listening Uti Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Could you please repeat it once more?
Okay. Greeting. Hello, Uti listeners. I am So Jin Kwang. You are listening Uti Radio, Open Education Station for All.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Could you please, Prof. Nafsia?
Yeah, okay. Hello, Uti listeners. I'm Nafsia Muhammad from UITM. You are listening Uti Radio, Open Education Station for All.
Well, thank you very much. It's nice to see you too, professors. Hope your agenda will run well tomorrow. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And I hope to see you soon after this.
Yeah, thank you for inviting both of us here. Okay, we feel honored to be here.
The honor is ours.
It's a great honor.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Well, the last, could you please say my regard to Lee Min-ho?
Lee Min-ho.
Lee Min-ho? Do you know Lee Min-ho?
Lee Min-ho.
Lee Min-ho.
Lee Min-ho.
Lee Min-ho,
the actor.
one of the actors.
One of the actors.
He's very famous in Indonesia, you know that?
Really? How about the Korean actor Jin Kwang-so?
Jin Kwang-so, do you know that?
That is over famous.
Yes, beyond famous.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Well, thank you very much for coming. It's very fine and open our insight. Thank you very much. Dan juga Eva ucapan terima kasih kepada Anda yang sudah hadir menyimak dan juga menyaksikan. Sampai jumpa kembali di program-program UT Radio berikutnya. Saya Fatimah Eva pamit undur diri. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.